Well, now that school is out and we are spending so much more time with our loved ones, I thought I'd share some tips with you. What I've learned and put together, in my book over the years is so understanding how to create, emotional safety is key to fostering meaningful connections and healthy relationships. It is actually the foundation for a loving and healthy relationship. So it's about establishing trust with another person and feeling safe enough to truly, express yourself with someone and show up as your most authentic self. So emotional safety also goes both ways. When you feel emotionally safe and reveal your true self, it opens the door for your partner to do the same. And when both people in a relationship feel secure, it provides a safe environment where you have a deeper and it's more loving, it's a connection is formed. So when you find yourself in an emotionally safe relationship, chances are you will experience many advantages as a result. So some of the benefits include, you'll feel valued and valuable. You can truly be yourself without the risk of judgment. So you can show your weaknesses even without being taken advantage of. You can share boldly and express yourself freely. You can feel seen, heard, and understood. More importantly, though, an emotionally safe relationship creates a stronger connection. Brené Brown, I believe is her name, another author and a research professor, of social work, said it best. Something about, I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. So number one, respect, boundaries, and consent. This can increase safety and security in a relationship by establishing personal limits, by communicating limitations. You let your partner in on your preferences and invite even them to share their own. Think of boundaries as not only protecting yourself, but also protecting your relationship. Boundaries can be physical, they can be sexual, they can be intellectual, they can be emotional, or financial. All critical to nurturing respect. Some examples of boundaries that promote emotional safety are honoring what's important to you, sharing personal information gradually, protecting your time by not overcommitting, asking for space when you need alone time, communicating your comfort level, even with intimacy. Pay attention to your nonverbal cues. Body language is essential for emotional safety. Vocal tone, eye shape, even posture, and other micro expressions are continuously being interpreted by you and your partner, whether you realize it or not. If you approach your partner with hard eyes, tightly pressed lips, and short words, they may not feel safe. The key here is to realize that we are each responsible, and not only, for the words we say, but also the way we send them. It's a good idea to practice paying attention to the nonverbal communication you are carrying with you before you approach your partner or person or whoever it is. Consider asking yourself, what is my body language communicating right now? Number two is be an active listener. Active listening is a critical component to a healthy relationship because people need to feel heard and understood to feel secure and validated too. Active listening is when you set aside your defenses and distractions and truly take in what your partner is telling you. The ability to actively listen means that whenever fears or issues arise, your partner will feel comfortable telling you. Instead of the problem growing or your partner becoming resentful, you will be able to quickly and easily address it. Some ways to practice active listening is nonverbal signs of listening, like smiling, nodding, and maintaining eye contact, asking your partner questions, or asking even for help. Summarizing your basic needs or reflecting back on what you're saying to practice transparency is an important part of building trust and emotional safety. When you practice transparency, you eliminate the potential feeling that you or your partner are hiding something from you. While you don't need to share every part of your life with your partner, general openness, though, about your thoughts, feelings, and activities is a good way to build trust. And communication, security it builds too. Giving your partner the benefit of the doubt means removing judgment and instead being curious to learn about, the motivation for their behaviors. Most popular motivations are subconscious and often connected to their own baggage they bring to the relationship. But when we stop judging and making up stories of why our partner did what they did, we begin to look at them favorably from a place of compassion and understanding. We may disagree at times with each other, but we can at least create a safe environment without confrontation to even do that. Foster, accountability and follow through. It shows your partner that you are dependable and value, the relationship. When you commit to something and follow through, you actively build trust by showing your partner your loyalty, right? Yet following through doesn't have to happen, overnight. Even when you take small steps, enabling your partner to see your consistent effort shows them your commitment to the relationship. Try keeping your partner in the loop, as this will help you hold yourself accountable too. A mental health professional perspective can help people in relationships build emotional safety by focusing on dealing with conflict rather than focusing on the conflict itself. Couples therapy fosters emotional safety by helping couples understand how they work together as a system. Counselors are less interested, believe it or not, in the content of what they are fighting about, but rather the process of, how they fight. Focusing on the content might help them in that moment. But as I meditate and dispute, because they are just going to end up right back in the therapy office, next time they can't agree. So instead, by helping them create a new process for how they approach conflict to set them up for success as life continues to throw challenges, their way. So emotional safety is key, though, to a healthy and happy relationship. There are countless ways to create emotional safety, and some may work for you better than others. So consider trying a few of the ways we've identified together and decide which one works best for you and your partner. While it may take time to build emotional safety, the result is the relationship is built on mutual trust. Respect, unconditional support, the love that we're looking for, right? So not only will you find yourself seen, heard, and understood, but you will find yourself and your partner. Try to be patient with each other. That's a big one. And then watch the benefits of being open and vulnerable unfold. Complaining is commonplace. In fact, we're wired for it. In fact, I was thinking about a video even on that, things we argue about. Because, but left unchecked, though, it can create like a serious problem in the relationship. So, the dishes piling up and you feel like you asked your partner to clean them up a million times, yet no matter how many times you ask, it never gets done. Why is that? It could come down to one thing: complaining. This is a common, understandable strategy, but spotting problems is one of the many ways our brains keeps us safe. But if we're not careful, it can also spell trouble in our closest connections. With a little intellect from trusted relationships, experts say it's possible to address problems, differently. Everyone complains from time to time, but how much, is too much, right? If you're looking for a rule, then the image ratio hits about 5-to-1. This means that for every negative interaction during conflict, a stable and happy marriage has 5 or more positive interactions. If you find yourself constantly complaining, there's likely an underlying reason. You may be seeking connection, validation, attention. It could be also resolution and even empowerment. Complaining may have been modeled to you during childhood by your caregivers. You may associate it with love or think it is the best way to get your needs met. Social customs have taught us also, and it plays a role. In Ireland, they're, slagging is often used to show affection. Or like in the UK, you may take the piss out of something or someone you feel close to. In Australia, it takes taking the mickey, I think they call it, out of your mates. All of these forms of interaction may be interpreted if you're not, used to them. So you may complain because you harbor old resentments. In this case, you may your pain may come out sideways in the form of a complaint. Not only can it strain your relationships, but research also shows that emotional suppression may even be bad for your health. So know that when we don't like something about us, the way we look, how we relate to others or anything, we can project those shaming feelings onto others. From home to work, complaining, it can put a damper and even a wedge between, you and those you actually care about. Complaining may lead to Gotham's, has a 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Remember, it was a model of behavior that predicts divorce. He says the 4 horsemen include criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. I've never seen nagging or complaining by an effective strategy. If you ask someone to consider how many thousands of times they've complained to their partner and then how many of those actually worked, the only answer I've ever gotten to that question is never. Children don't process also information in the same way that adults do, though, too. That's important to know. Because when you complain, it may be difficult for your child to understand why you're so upset. They can have a hard time separating the behavior from who they are as a person. They may also, misread important context. For example, you're in a bad mood because you had like a rough day at work, you're exhausted, or you just got some bad news. So instead, you internalize your feelings by, blurting out complaints. It can come across as a character defect on their part. As a result, your child may display fear, guilt, shame, or perfectionism, people-pleasing behaviors, avoidance, walking on eggshells. Complaining can have a negative impact on our friendships and work connections as well. Over time, we can pull away from each. No longer do we find the other person safe or inviting. So we begin to find ways to avoid contact altogether. Research shows that conflict resolution is one of the protective factors of marriage. In fact, there's a right way to complain. Effective communication is kind, it's empathetic, and direct. But you say it as important as how you say it, right? Remember, it's not you versus them. If it's you and them versus the undesirable behavior, you're going to share how you feel. So you try taking a few deep breaths. Consider how you would like to be spoken to. Imagine the inner child of the person that you're speaking to, when you're beginning to address. Use loving, kindness. Signal safety to your partner with soft eyes, a gentle voice, perhaps even a smile. Call your partner to be on your team, to act with you in the best interest of your relationship. Pick an optimal time when you both feel relaxed and are not running, or distracted, even exhausted, to listen to one another. Also try making yourself some notes so you remember and stick to the key points that you want to discuss. Reflect on your needs, but also adjust your expectations too. Finally, make a gratitude list. Research shows that gratitude can have a profound effect on how you view relationships. Make a list of things you're grateful for, yes, but include your favorite qualities about the person you're upset with, right? All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.